الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم أما بعد رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. So, as I started on Monday, before I get into this, we are going to be hearing a hadith from the book Riad Saliheen. And before we get started get to the crux of the book Riyad al-Salihin with the ahadith, I thought it was very important for us to get to know the mu'allif, the author of the book, and we briefly heard about his childhood. Imam al-Nawawi, or Allama al-Nawawi, he was born in a village called An-Nawa in Syria, and we had already talked about his childhood, how he was a very exceptional and pious young child. And his piety and righteousness was picked up by those who observed him. They told his father that don't let him follow your footsteps of being the shopkeeper, dedicate him towards the religion. He will grow up to do big things. So his father did exactly that. And what led to this was a statement that he uttered when he refused to play with other children. You remember that story. And this historian asked him, why aren't you playing with the other kids? And he said, مَا خُلِقْنَا لِهَذَا. We have not been created for games. So subhanAllah, this goes to show that how innocent young children are. And that as parents, it is our responsibility to mold their mentality in such a way that makes them absorb the deen and the religion. They will value whatever we value in front of them. So if we give value and appreciation to our deen and religion, they will grow up appreciating the deen and religion. And if we set an example of putting deen on the back burner, then guess what? They are eventually going to take deen off the stove altogether. So setting a good example, Imam al-Nawawi's father was also known for his righteousness and piety. So he did not brush this suggestion off. Anyways, moving forward, the village of An-Nawa was not known for, its academics or people there who came there for, their scholarly pursuits. So he took him to the city of Damascus. And he enrolled, at that time, the city of Dimashq was a hub of Islamic knowledge. There were over 300 institutes, whether in the form of big institutes or halaqat, but there were 300 gatherings all around the city of Dimashq, in which people would travel from all around the empire to seek the Islamic sciences. Now, Imam al-Nawawi, rahimahullah, he had a huge passion and zeal for seeking knowledge. It is mentioned about him that throughout the course, he studied in one particular institute for 2 years. Throughout the course of that 2 years, he studied by 12 mashayikh. Each sheikh had a majlis 1 hour long. And he would spend the entire 12 hours behind different mashayikh, learning and absorbing the sciences, and then he would spend equal the amount of time writing the notes, writing commentaries, writing his notes on the margin of whatever notes he wrote on. And the mashayikh explained the barakah that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave in his time, that he would constantly write notes. He dedicated himself fully to seeking the Islamic sciences. Now, subhanAllah, Imam Nawawi rahimahullah, he says himself that I studied in this one institute that he mentioned by name for 2 years, and during those 2 years, he did not rest fully. He did not lay down to rest. He would write throughout the night, write his notes, and then when he would feel sleepy, he would lean against his books. And this is something that is known about Imam Bukhari rahimahullah as well. During that 2 years, he did not lay down to sleep. He leaned back on his books and dozed off to gather enough strength to continue his pursuit. So subhanAllah, this shows us the zeal and dedication that he had for knowledge. There is a saying, "Al-ilmu la yu'tika ba'dah hatta tu'tiyahu kullak." Ilm does not give you even a portion of itself until you don't dedicate yourself fully towards it. So one thing that we learn is the dedication towards education, how dedicated he was. At the end of his 2-year journey of seeking the Islamic sciences, his father took him for Hajj, and his father mentions the piety and righteousness and patience of his son, that he came down with a really bad fever, that he dealt with the entire 1 month travel that it took for Hajj until Yawm Arafah. But neither throughout that entire time did he moan, did he complain, or did he act restless. He gave it all he had during the entire journey of Hajj, and it's different. It was much different than it is today, where you just, even though with all of its hardship, Hajj back then was a journey that you did not know if you would return back to your home. Now, so this is as far as his journey for Hajj. Then he came back and he settled in Dimashq as a scholar, offering lectures, and he spent most of his time writing. And for the rest of the 25 years of his life in Dimashq, he says he would go home and all he would do all night is write, until he would fall asleep, doze off to the adhan of Fajr, and then he would be busy in his ibadah, and he would dedicate himself to writing. He only ate 1 meal a day for 25 years, and that was after Salatul Isha. And he did not eat. Okay, while he was in that institute for 2 years, he ate whatever the institute provided him. But while he was a private citizen, so to speak, in Dimashq, for 25 years, he only ate the bread that his father sent to him. And he only ate meat once a month, and for 25 years he did not eat any of the fruit that was available around Dimashq, because he was not sure of, it was a public trust, and he had reservations about the fruit not being distributed to the poor, so he did not feel comfortable consuming any of that fruit that was available at that time. And this just goes to show his righteousness and his piety, his taqwa, subhanAllah. I mean, we think that only dealing in liquor or in haram things makes your income haram, but subhanAllah, you could be living a total halal, you could be earning a total halal income in your assumption, but if you're lying and you're cheating and you're deceiving and you're taking advantage of other people through that, well, guess what? It is tainted. So from this we learn his extreme piety, taqwa and wara, where he went beyond the call of taqwa in pursuing his and in imparting his knowledge. And it is because we see the reflection and the barakah that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put in his book. And inshallah we will continue tomorrow into the last and third phase of his life, which includes standing up to injustice, and last but not least, his death. And then inshallah we will get into starting Riyad al-Saliheen. Jazakumullahu khair. Allahumma ja'alna min alladhina yastami'una al-qawl fayattabi'una ahsana. Subhanallah wa bihamdi, subhanakallah wa bihamdi. Nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta nastaghfiruka.